Hello and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today I'll be showing you how to cycle from Primrose Hill in North London to Gospel Oak, a relatively local ride. This ride takes about 10 minutes and you can do the whole thing on quiet streets and protected cycle lanes. By public transport, the same journey takes around half an hour, so you can save a lot of time by getting on your bike for this one. If you find this video useful or you just enjoy watching it, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as I try to post new videos just like it every week. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everyone who supports the channel on Patreon. If you'd like to contribute as well, you can find a link in the description below the video. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting on Regent's Park Road, which is really the main high street of Primrose Hill, and we're going to head east towards Camden Town. This street is incredibly quiet thanks to a traffic scheme that was introduced in the 1970s, which has removed most through traffic from Primrose Hill. That was partly achieved by closing this bridge over the West Coast Main Line to through traffic, and it's a really comfortable crossing which is useful for both people on foot and also on a bike. We then turn right, and in this direction you can use this buffered cycle lane to get down the hill. One piece of advice I have is that when it's wet, just be careful, as the leaves from the trees above can make it quite slippery. And also, as you turn right here to get into this crossing, just make sure there are no cars coming, as it does require you to turn out into traffic. We're really spoilt for choice for cycle infrastructure around here, and you could just go straight on here, but we're actually going to turn off right here and go down Short Farm Road. That's because I want to show off the new protected cycle lanes that Camden Council has put in. I haven't really used them in a video before, and I think they're really quite good and make it really pleasant to get down here. These will take you right up to Camden High Street, and they're set to get even more useful in the next year or so when Camden trials pedestrianising Camden High Street, hopefully sorting out one of the last gaps in its really quite good cycle network, especially around this bit of town. If you look at some of the protective ones on the right, you'll see that some are missing or bent out of shape because motorists have hit them. The good news is that Camden already has plans to replace these with stepped cycle tracks when this is made permanent, which should hopefully happen in the next year or so as well. We now turned off and we're going to go down Heartland Road. You'll see that this road is extremely quiet, and the reason for that is coming up ahead, this rather attractive filter which has bollards and planting which stops cars from driving through it. I've always thought this junction up ahead outside the church and the school could make a really nice public square if that vacant commercial unit was brought back into use as like a cafe or a pub or something. But there doesn't seem to be any sign of that happening anytime soon. It's been vacant for a while actually. Thanks to a series of road closures around here, all the streets in this little group are really quiet and pleasant to cycle around. We're not necessarily taking the most direct route today, but as I said, I wanted to show off some of the new infrastructure that's around here. Also, it is extremely quick compared to getting public transport. Even though we're going around the houses, it only takes about 10 minutes. But the connections between Primrose Hill and Gospel Oak by bus or train are actually not that good. The next stretch of this ride is on Prince of Wales Road, and we'd normally be riding in a protected cycle lane, although as you can see it's currently under construction. There was a lane here before, but it's been redone by Camden to make it a little bit more permanent and use step tracks, just like the ones that they'll be replacing the old ones on Short Farm Road with. Fortunately, we're not on here for long though, and we can turn straight up Grafton Road on the left here, but it will be a lot nicer to ride in those protected lanes when they're finally done. I'll certainly be doing a lot of routes down here when that upgrade has been completed. Grafton Road is generally a joy to ride on thanks to another scheme put in by Camden Council relatively recently. They've introduced a number of traffic filters around here, and as a result it's really cut down the number of cars using this street as a cut through. It's a really direct route between Prince of Wales Road and Gospel Oak. This doesn't work everywhere, but I think it's a really good example of how you can make a really high quality cycleway without actually building any cycle lanes or protected infrastructure. It really is just the carriageway of the road, but because through traffic has been removed and it's a direct road anyway that goes where we need to go, it makes for a fantastic route linking these two town centres and high streets. This is a good time to say, by the way, that if you need to download a map of the route, you can find a link in the description below the video, and you can download it as a GPX file, which should work on whatever app or device you need. The traffic filter quietening down the street is just here, by the way. It's not a physical closure, it's actually just a camera enforced sign, which means that if any motorist tries to drive through it without the right permit, they'll get a ticket. You can see the results really clearly. There are plenty of people using this as a cycleway. The reduction in traffic has also created really big benefits for pedestrians and other road users who just want a nicer environment to walk in. Plenty of people out here walking to school, dropping their kids off, or just enjoying the street. It's a really nice environment for everyone. That closure hasn't just quietened down Grafton Road, it's also quietened down a lot of the streets that come off it. For example, Lamble Street just coming up on the right here. As you can see, it's dead quiet, and it has a really similar thing with lots of people out, scooting, walking, cycling to school. It's amazing what happens when you cut traffic levels. Keep an eye out on the right here, by the way, for a really cool building. It's a social housing development called Kiln Place, and it was designed by one of my favourite working architects, Peter Barber, who does a lot of really cool, dense, walkable stuff for local authorities around London and elsewhere. So we are here. That is Gospel Oak Station dead ahead of us. It's kind of an attractive, almost Art Deco-y looking building, and I kind of like it. As you can see from the map, we didn't take the most direct route this time. You could have gone straight on down Crogsland Road and turned right down Prince of Wales Road, which will certainly make a lot more sense when they've retrofitted the new upgraded cycle tracks on Prince of Wales Road. But I thought we'd go the way we did just to show off the Chalk Farm cycle lanes and also some of the nice closures around Hartland Road and Harmood Street, which keep everything nice and quiet. I think Camden's done a really good job with this area. I used to actually live pretty near here, and it's really transformed in the time since I moved away. It went from being like okay for cycling to probably one of the best like concentrated areas in London. Has a really good combination of on-road cycle tracks and really good quiet back streets. And I think that's the best recipe that we've worked out so far for making places good to cycle in this city. So make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already, and you can enable alerts as well by hitting the bell icon. And thanks so much again to all of you who contribute on the Patreon. If you'd like to contribute as well, there is a link in the description and you can do so if you feel like it. Let me know in the comments what you think of all that, but otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys again next time.